This is all wrong. I shouldn't be up here. I should be back in school on the other side of the ocean. Yet you all come to us young people for hope. How dare you!
Boring. 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 Boring.
You gotta work. Don't tell us what we're gonna feel. We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're gonna feel.
I'm not telling you.
Because you're in no position to dictate that. Remember what you're doing. You're in no position to dictate what we're gonna feel.
I call again for an immediate ceasefire in Gaza, the return of the sausages, the hostages.
Hello, Lembit Öpik here on Lembit Öpik Live on a momentous day if you're watching this live, if you happen to be not too keen on ID cards. This is unprecedented TV, the home of free speech, and I think I speak for pretty much all of our staff, a fierce opponent of the ID card scheme. Now, let me start with this because it's a pretty big deal. If you're watching this live, you may have already heard that the Labour Party is going to be dumping ID cards. How did I hear about it? Well, my guest today got in touch and said, Lembit, did you hear? And I hadn't heard. I checked. It's true. In yet another U-turn, Keir Starmer, the most beleaguered Prime Minister in living memory, possibly in the history of the United Kingdom, has dumped another of his flagship policies. Flagship because he made it so. He made a pompous speech or 2 or 10 or 100 saying how important ID cards were to stop people working in this country if they haven't got the proper papers. Ignoring the fact, of course, that they threw their proper papers into the English Channel before they even arrived. But that didn't seem to deter the accident-prone Prime Minister, Mr. Gap himself, Keir Starmer, from making this promise. Now, I didn't think it was going to work, but I thought they would go further down the path before they dumped it. Indeed, someone I know has just been trying to set up a business, and he's been told by his accountant he had to get an ID card, and he stalled. Now he doesn't have to get one, I suppose, or are they still going to languish in this penumbra, which means semi-shadow, trying to work out whether they're going to still sort of introduce ID cards or not. Now, before we go into speaking with my guest today, please do like and subscribe to our channel on Unprecedented TV on YouTube. And you can follow me on X at Lembit Öpik, and I do tend to have a dialogue with you as well, so please feel free to do that. I'll be talking to you after the show is over today, I think, because I've got a lot to talk about with Nick Buckley MBE, a man who I suspect wasn't too keen on the ID card proposals. Nick, good to see you on this happy day, and thanks for being the man who tipped me off.
You're welcome. Well, when I get good news, I like to spread the cheer.
Well, you have this time. How did you hear that Nick Clegg? That's interesting. That's very Freudian. Another failed leader. How did you hear that? And somebody who probably would have agreed with ID cards. Nick Clegg was not what you'd call a proper Liberal Democrat, in my view. But how did you hear? Where were you when you heard the ID cards were to be scrapped?
Well, it was on the social media platform that Starmer is trying to ban. So X, Twitter. I was looking on that last night, and Toby Young, the guy who set up the Free Speech Union, put an article out about 6 minutes past 7 yesterday evening, and it was like, oh, wow. I knew this was
yesterday
going
evening,
over.
if you're watching this live, of course, if you watch it in the archive, it could be years ago. But in terms of when we're talking about it, carry on.
Yeah, so I knew this was going nowhere. Tony Blair tried this. You would have to be a popular, competent, strong government to even attempt at bringing digital ID in the UK. And this government is none of them. So they had absolutely no chance in hell. I'm beginning to work out a strategy for this Labour government, and it's this. Same with scrapping jury trials and lots of other things that they announced and scrapped. I think it might be a ploy. It might be part of their strategy, as in we'll announce something, we'll get some good PR from our supporters because they're going to like it. We know it's going nowhere. The press will attack it. All the right wing and the social media will attack it, and then we'll drop it, and then we'll start something all over again, because that's better than having everybody always looking at our leadership skills, the economy, and looking at everything else. Throw them some red meat, a circus to have a go at, and then when we drop it, and we'll move on.
That's quite strong words there, but I suppose in a way you remind me of a phrase, because Keir Starmer's getting the rap for all this. This relates to a conversation I was having with somebody else. There it is. They're saying the fish rots from the head means that when there are problems in an organization, group, or system, causes usually due to failures in leadership at the top.
Yeah.
Just as a fish decomposes, starting with the head, problems are seen as originating from the leaders, spreading down through the rest of the group. Now, I was wondering if this is true, and it turns out that Marilyn Hawes, who raised this with me, was correct. A fish rots from the head. Now, this seems to be happening to the Labour Party because, and we'll talk about him a bit later on again, Keir Starmer, but this was something that Keir Starmer, for no good reason, made a flagship policy. He went on and on and on about it as if this was a solution to the migrant crisis failure, their complete inability to reduce numbers. In fact, there are record numbers of boat crossings last year. So Starmer's flagship, again, another flagship, gone down into the channel with other people's passports.
It has, but I don't think he minds. I think he realizes he's in such trouble. He only can play the short game. And the short game is, I'll announce something like ID cards. My supporters will love it. I know it's going nowhere. And then when we drop it, I'll pick something else my supporters are going to love, because it gets them over that hump. It gets them over the next 3-4 months. And that's all they're looking at all the time. They're trying to survive. That's all they're trying to do. And,
we're talking about a whole bunch of U-turns here. We've had tons of them. There's the welfare U-turn where they said all kinds of stuff about one side, we're going to cut the welfare budget, but then they didn't. And then they tied into that the 2-child cap, where you couldn't get benefits if you have more than 2 children, you wouldn't get benefits extra. But then I think they realized that their electorate was going to complain about that, so they dumped that. It's U-turn after U-turn after U-turn.
Yeah, and don't forget the winter fuel allowance.
Yeah.
Don't forget doing a U-turn now on rates increases on pubs. It is U-turn after U-turn, because they don't know.
That's the winter fuel allowance one there. Yeah. They criticised the Tories because they said the Tories would ban the winter fuel allowance. Then they did. Labour banned the winter fuel allowance, and then they unbanned it. I mean, this is just insane. That's not even a 360-degree circle. This goes up another 180 degrees. Yeah. I mean, 460, 540-degree triple U-turn. I mean, that gets mathematically complicated.
It does. But that just emphasizes my point. They don't know what they're doing long term. It's all short-termism. It's all about how do we survive the next few months, the next 6 months? How do we generate any sort of positive press for the voters who may vote for us? Forget the right wing of politics. Forget the fascists, the Nazis, the far right. Forget people like me. They're not going to vote for Labour. But we need to give our voters, our potential voters, some good news over the next couple of months. And this is pure politics.
Yeah, and it just looks really bad. It just looks like he's completely out of control. We were trying to add up how many U-turns he's done. The latest I saw was no, we've done that one. Do the other one. Yeah. They've done it. Oh, they got it there. Yeah. It was 12, but that's out of date now, isn't it?
It is.
U-turns since coming into power. It's 13 now, isn't it?
13 now. Well, yeah. 13
I mean, you told me that as well. I didn't know that myself. It's just crazy, you know. It's just like that's dangerous driving, isn't it?
Here's a question for you, Lembit, because obviously you're a former MP. You follow politics closer than me, and I've done for a long time. Has there ever been a government this incompetent?
Oh no.
What about?
Sorry.
I was going to say, what about the I remember the 1970s being a basket case. Were those governments as bad as this one?
They weren't. Actually, one interesting point, in my opinion. You asked me my view, I'll give it to you. From 1976 to 1979, Labour had a complicated situation, and the Liberals backed up a Labour coalition. And there's a guy called Callaghan, Jim Callaghan, who was the Prime Minister at the time. And he was ridiculed and he crashed and burned in 1979, and Thatcher got in. But actually, he didn't do that bad a job. He went to the International Monetary Fund to borrow some money, but he actually did get the economy rather under control. But it's too late. And a brilliant campaign by the Tories about the winter of discontent, which misquoted Shakespeare in a way, but it worked. These posters, Labour isn't working, they booted them out. But I thought that was a better government than what we got now, because they did actually stabilise the economy. This lot have wrecked it.
And isn't it true to say that even that Callaghan government, the people in the government would have been intelligent? They may have had the wrong policies, they may not have been able to hold it all together, but you'd have looked at them and said, he's a someone, she's a someone. Well, you look at this government now and you go, they're all nobodies.
Yeah, but how important is personality in politics, do you think?
No, I don't necessarily mean that. I mean as in, you wouldn't say they were stupid, you wouldn't say they're incompetent. You'd say in the 70s, I don't agree with their policies, but they're clever, they know what they're talking about, even though I don't agree with them. Where this government, you look at them, you speak to them, or you hear them speak, and you go, the light's on, but no one's home here.
It's quite personal. Who do you have in mind in particular?
Oh, there's a list of them. I mean, Angela Rayner, David Lammy, Lisa Nandy. I could go on and on and on.
Yeah, Angela Rayner. That's another thing. He's going to do a U-turn about Angela Rayner, I understand. That, Angela Rayner who's booted out for actually breaking her own policies on housing.
Yeah.
He's suggesting that she'll come back. There we are. Yeah, another U-turn. Oh, yeah. She's got to have a future in my cabinet. Well, okay, so you just get sort of wrapped on the knuckles a little bit.
Yeah.
And then you kind of get to come back.
Yeah. Well,
I actually quite like the idea of Angela Rayner as Prime Minister, because, in my opinion, it would guarantee Labour will lose the next election. There's
an old saying, keep your friends close, keep your enemies even closer. And that's exactly what he's doing with Rayner. He wants her in the tent, because she'll have less ammunition, less opportunity to attack him. He doesn't want her sat on the back benches, because there's a very good chance she'll be the next. If Andy Burnham doesn't get to Parliament, all my money is on her being the next Prime Minister.
That's a bold statement. Why her? Is she popular?
She's popular in the grassroots. She's popular with left-wing voters. She's got the right accent. She's a female. Labour have never had a female Prime Minister. She ticks all the boxes.
Okay. And so you reckon this is quite credible?
Oh,
that he'll bring her back in, and then she might snaffle away the job.
Well, I think when she resigned, I knew then she'd come back, probably within 12 months. But he's doing so bad now, she'll be back even sooner than that.
Yeah. Well, okay. I mean, you could be right. We'll find out. You said about Jim Callaghan. Just using him as an example, I tend to use Tony Blair myself, but Jim Callaghan I thought was quite a credible man. He was a gentleman, I'm told, and basically there he is. Yeah. My feeling is that he actually was, I don't know, he had some substance, and you could sort of believe in him in a way that you can't really with the current lot. I'd say, am I being unfair?
No, and that's a point I was trying to make. That's why I asked you that question. You don't have to agree with politicians to think they're credible. I never agreed with Tony Blair, and I never liked Tony Blair's policies. But my God, he was a good politician. He had substance. He commanded a room. There was something about Tony Blair, and there has been with other politicians, but since him, you look at David Cameron, you look at all the other leaders, and it's like, it's as if suddenly the best of us stopped going into politics.
I think that's what actually has happened. No. People often ask me, why do you think this has occurred? Well, I think it's occurred because essentially it's just not a very attractive job anymore. You can go into Parliament and you can go in there, but first of all, if you've been on hundreds of thousands a year, as many of the top flight business people have been, you don't want to take the pay cut. then every little thing you do is analysed. If you've got some in your closet, all the high achievers have. Perhaps not the Dalai Lama, I don't know, Mother Teresa, but most politicians have. Look at Churchill and look at John F. Kennedy and many of the others.
Yeah.
And
everybody's flawed.
Well, yeah, and this is the thing. I just wonder if essentially people now look at politics as a place they don't want to go. So we get the betas and the gammas instead.
Yeah,
What do you
no,
think?
I think I agree, because I can't think another reason why our politicians seem to be getting worse and worse, and they're not the shining stars they used to be. So I think I think we just get the B team every time now, because if you're a prime minister, if you're made of prime minister material, you end up in banking. You end up doing something else where you're on $500,000 a year, 2 million a year, and you've not got public scrutiny, and you've got better working hours, and you can retire whenever you want. Where you go into Parliament and you're fighting every day, and social media's made everything worse. Personal attacks, intrusion into your family life, speaking to your cousins and your sister, and it's like, who wants that?
Yeah, that's a problem. I think that's literally put people off. I met people who said, I'd like to go into politics, but I don't want to be scrutinized like that. And those are the ones who got the life experience. They've been out there, they've made the mistakes, they got humility, they understand all of that, but they don't want to expose themselves because it's going to hurt if you get that kind of thing in the public domain. I get that. After the break, I want to talk about what Starmer's been saying. You will not be able to work in the UK without digital ID. And we're going to look at a speech he made it absolutely clear that this is his big idea. This is going to stop the tens of thousands of people that we know about from coming across the channel. Well, we're going to see what's going on with that. You're watching me, Lembit Öpik, here on Unprecedented TV with Nick Buckley MBE. And I'm going to ask after the break, is it over? Is it over for Keir Starmer? Can he carry on? But before that, I just want to remind you of Claire Dias. She does great shows, and she actually did a fantastic show with Nick Buckley at MBE, where the tables are turned. Nick Buckley really interviewed Claire, and I fully recommend it. She makes local issues into national campaigns, and she's broken at least 2 national stories. She didn't get the credit for them, but I give her the credit. Watch this. Claire Dyer, Unprecedented TV's ace sleuth, really, somebody who shows great courage. You interviewed her recently, Nick Buckley. What did you make of her?
I thought she was wonderful. I liked everything about her. I like the fact that she wants to interview people and get stories out of people no one's heard of, who haven't got a presence online, who the press aren't knocking on their doors, but have still got a story to tell, have still got issues. And that's what you call real journalism. That's what local newspapers used to do, like the Messenger and the Advertiser. They concentrated on local stories that matter to local people, and she seems to be following in those footsteps. Well done, her.
But when you were talking with her, did you get the sense that I got? That she's really pretty courageous, to be honest with you. She goes out there, she's exhausted a lot of the time. Yeah. She gets pressure and hassle, but she hides in plain sight.
Yeah, and we need more people like that. We need more people to hide in plain sight. The amount of people I see online criticizing or have got an opinion, and you look at the avatar and it's all anonymous, and you think that's not bravery. Stick your name to it, stick your face to it, and then your opinion's a little bit more valid then. But I think the work she's doing is great, giving local people, she calls them the voiceless, giving them a voice.
Yeah, but is she in danger of being cancelled by the state?
We're all in danger of that. You know, I know YouTubers. I know 2 YouTubers who were arrested last year for
What
use.
for?
One of them for cracking jokes. He made a joke about German politicians being similar to Nazis. I thought these are foreign politicians, but he also said something that made a joke about stringing Starmer up in a jokey way. He got arrested for that. And another guy I know makes YouTube videos. He got arrested for, I think it was a hate crime because he was talking about immigration. I've seen all the videos they've made, and none of them, it's not about crossing the line. None of them even approached the line, any line. They were just normal, everyday videos, but talking about politics. And the police state we live in now doesn't like that.
Well, let's get back to Keir Starmer then. As I said before, you said this and quite clear, you know, you will not be able to work in the UK without digital aid.
Let me just jump in there. If you just read the first 2 lines, that's Labour policy.
You will not be able to work in the UK.
Yeah.
Well, you know, you're saying that in jest, but the country's in such a desperate mess now. That's a very good point. Somebody was quite derogatory about one of my tweets recently, but they did it in a clever way. There's a grammatical turn of phrase that they did. That's just fantastic. I see how you got your MBE now. Master of bombastic English. I don't mean that. I envy you for having that. But let's have a look at the speech or part of it that's referring to, and you see how clearly he says this. Now, let's be clear. You're absolutely sure that they have scrapped the ID card scheme. You're absolutely sure about it, are you?
If Toby Young is correct, and I would be 99.999% that Toby Young wouldn't put something out if it wasn't correct.
Okay. Well, in that case, just look how confident Keir Starmer was that they were going to introduce ID cards. Let's hope we got the right part of the speech.
Every nation needs to have control over its borders. We do need to know who is in our country. Our immigration system does need to be fair if we want to maintain that binding contract that our politics is built on. Otherwise, it undermines trust, undermines people's faith that we're on their side, and their belief that the state can and will work for them. And that is why today I am announcing this government will make a new free-of-charge digital ID mandatory for the right to work by the end of this Parliament. Let me spell that out. You will not be able to work in the United Kingdom if you do not have digital ID.
Well, that's pretty clear.
He has that many problems. If he wanted to, he could just pretend it was going ahead and push it all the way to 2029 and never implement it. And the next government will scrap it all anyway. He has that many problems. I think he does. He either doesn't want any more problems. This is the problem that can go away now by doing this, or he's looked at polling, he's looked at something, and it's saying his voters don't want this either. Maybe that's what he's discovered now. Maybe the half a dozen Labour voters that are left, maybe 2 of them don't even like it. So he's thinking, I can't afford to lose another third of my voter base. Who knows what this man thinks? I really don't know. All I'm doing is guessing on the spot here.
The Metro paper, I think it's the Metro, says Keir Starmer's scrapped plans for mandatory digital ID cards for workers in the UK, which will now be optional when introduced in 2029. He's going to get one. This decision comes after significant backlash and concerns about public confidence in the ID program. Surprise, surprise. Instead of requiring digital IDs for right-to-work checks, workers will be able to use other documents to verify their identity digitally. That's tricky, because if you've thrown all your documents in the sea, we don't know who you are. You know, this is the thing. They basically, you're quite right. At time of broadcasting, it seems absolutely clear that this is the case. And compulsory digital ID plan acts as Labour performs another U-turn, reports say. That's according to The Independent. It's all over the place. If you're watching this live, of course, you may have even more recent news than I do on these. Huffington Post, Keir Starmer ditches compulsory digital ID in 13th U-turn since becoming Prime Minister. You're right about that. Yahoo News, Keir Starmer scraps with a mandatory digital ID in 13th U-turn of his government. And BBC government drops plans for mandatory digital ID to work in UK. Absolutely clear. You're completely right.
And
How embarrassing.
let me add something that'll depress you now. So he's going to scrap mandatory IDs, but he's still going to spend how many tens of billions building the system for a mandatory audience. And we know hardly anyone's going to sign up, but he'll still spend the billions doing it because he doesn't want to lose that much face.
And it's a free card, so it's all coming out of taxpayers' money.
Yes. Yeah.
No one's going to get one if it costs money, and no one's going to get one if it doesn't, probably. What's the point? Why give so much evidence of your life to a political party in power that doesn't care about your freedom and your privacy, except for themselves? What did happen about those 3 Ukrainian-born handsome young men who were detained some point last year? But that's not true. But for them, it's all very different. And this is the problem I've got: the total double standards. And then that line, you will not be able to work at the UK without digital ID. Well, you will. It's just horrendous. The campaign was pretty fierce as well. I mean, people walking around with these. I went to a demonstration about it. I would say no to digital ID. I will not comply, and I wouldn't have complied. I would have just messed with the system, basically. Huge problems for Starmer, though. 13 U-turns. How does anyone overcome that?
He's that dizzy now because all he seems to be doing is spinning on the spot. So I'm not sure he knows what he's doing. Digital ID, it was always a bad idea, but a decade ago, there would have been more of a chance implementing it a decade ago because many people still trusted the government. COVID killed all that. That's why there's so much resistance on digital ID now, because of what the Tory government did to us and wanted to do extra to us. And now we're going to give him all our data, all access to our lives, access to working, access to banks, access to the NHS. We're going to give that all to the government that only 5 years ago were trying to hammer us into compliance. I knew this was dead in the water the second he announced it. The country's changed.
And I don't think he's got much credibility there. Reform are having a field day with it. They put this up. Now that's what I call U-turns. That's what I call music. Well, cassette tapes actually goes that far back, and CDs, and it really is just an open opportunity for him to be ridiculed. And then you've just got the utter rubbish, in my view, of his just embarrassing performance with other people who just I don't find credible. And I know I often come back to this, but like the coalition of the willing, a coalition of the witnesses, I would call it. And you got there they are. There's the three amigos. You got Macron, Starmer, and Zelensky, 3 of the least credible politicians I've ever known, and they just hang around together because they're just basically all. I know what would I say? They're just not cutting it, in my view.
People tend to gravitate to other people at their level, and that picture proves
that's what you think that's going on there.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. Actually, it actually reminds me of Blazing Saddles or something like that. I'm not sure. What other? I see to tweet that. What other comedy groups do you basically have? Who do they remind you of?
I would say the Pointer Sisters.
The Pointer Sisters had voices. They were good.
They did.
That's actually, you're going to get sued by the Pointer Sisters. Oh dear. Let's come back to the point that I asked at the beginning then. Does the fish rot from the head down? Apparently it does. we could have so much more fun. My team found this. No, there's the other one. Show us the other one. There we are. Yeah, thank you. Brexit, your opinion, and he's got a fish. And you just have to say, it just beggars belief that in the middle of all this, he's more or less trying to, in my opinion, dismantle Brexit.
Yeah.
As if he wasn't unpopular enough. That must irritate people so much.
Well, it irritates the right sort of people, according to him. Don't forget, he's only ever playing to his base. He's trying to secure his base all the time.
Or you might even say his bass.
Oh, I tell you what. Yeah.
I'm quite pleased with that, actually.
Well,
I'm laughing at my own joke, I know, but it was good. Give me a break, man.
That is so killer funny that you could call yourself Jack the Kipper.
Yeah, you took the boat. I think I'm at a net loss there, trawling for another one. Can't think of it. So does a fish rot from the head down, and is Labour rotting from the head down?
Yeah. And do you know why fish rot from the head down?
No, why? No, I don't know.
I'm guessing, but I would imagine it's because bacteria will get in through the mouth and in through the gills. So, yeah, I reckon that's why the head goes first.
That's an awful concept. So is it rotting? Is Labour rotting because of Starmer?
I don't think it's because of Starmer per se. He takes most of the blame, obviously, because he's a leader. I just think 18 months ago, this government took charge and had no idea what they were going to do. And the only plan they had is the plan they've been working on since sixth form college. And that's really what we've got. We've just had sixth form politics for the last 18 months. And they're beginning to, well, they've already realised after the first budget that it's not easy running a country. Not easy running a country. Why didn't you know this before? And they've just proved everyone correct that the vast majority of Labour governments are not really governments.
For your amusement, very kindly, we've got access to this gaffs video of Starmer. Just have a quick look.
And then the woman stopped suddenly and said, "Someone's nicking your car." And I call again for an immediate ceasefire in Gaza. The return of the hostages.
Have you lost control of your MPs, Prime Minister? Will you rule out tax rises, Prime Minister?
Income. And we have many other ones coming. But you see the...
I mean, it's cringeworthy. Just look at him.
Yeah, I think he'll go down in the history books as the Prime Minister who said we need to release the sausages.
Yeah, I know. Return of the sausages.
Yeah.
Return of the sausage. He actually shook hands with the interpreter. I think that was the interpreter when he met. Starmer shook hands with the South Korean president's translator rather than the actual leader. It's a great little video that will run and run. And I've got one more for you, and this is kind of an interesting one. By a strange coincidence, do you know what the name of one of the companies that makes fish bait is? Do you know?
Starmer?
Yeah. Starmer Baits. Giving you the edge. Who knew? Starmer Baits should now be sponsoring Unprecedented TV. Get some free advertising there. Remarkable there. Who's that? Is that Angela Rayner having a quick sneaky cigarette behind the fish there? I don't know. Thanks very much indeed. On the more positive side, it's always a pleasure to be with you. Where can people see your podcast, which I'm going to lure into? I'm going to bait you. I'm going to catch you, trawl for your work and put it onto Unprecedented. But until we do that, where can people find your output?
They can find me mainly on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, all at the same handle, which is at Nick Buckley MBE. All one word.
That's fantastic. Thanks so much. Always a pleasure to speak with you. That is Nick Buckley MBE. Hope you enjoyed that. Keir, if you do want the right to reply, just get in touch with me. I will give you a whole hour, and you can be on Thought Leaders, which is where you get the space to say what you like, and you get approval at the end. If you don't like what you said or how we reported it, we'll change it. So, Keir Starmer, you have the right to reply, as does Angela Rayner or anybody else in the show, including the fish. Thank you very much indeed. My view is Keir Starmer is pretty much finished in terms of a serious politician, but he'll carry on as leader of the Labour Party. I'm going to make a prediction, 2026, May. I think he'll really struggle to get past that. If they crash and burn in the local elections as well, they might. In the meantime, hopefully we will be going from strength to strength here at Unprecedented TV. Please do like and subscribe. Go to YouTube and just take you 5-10 seconds, and it costs you nothing. And please do follow me on Lembit Öpik, at Lembit Öpik, that is. I'm the one with the blue tick, around 27,500 followers. That's me. Lots of other shows as well, every day, and soon it'll be all day as well. So I'm Lembit Öpik. That was Lembit Öpik Live, on a day, if you're watching this live, where we perhaps celebrate the end of ID cards. But will it be the end of Starmer? We shall see. Have a good day.
Immediate ceasefire in Gaza. The return of the sausages.